What is up guys, welcome back to another deck profile here. Today we're going to be going back to Shinobirds, but this is a completely different variant. I do have plans to actually do different variants for the entire deck itself, of course, where I'm actually trying out every single variant for the deck, and some of them can actually be quite theoretical in this particular sense. So for this particular deck profile that I have today, it's more of a theoretical thing, and I've yet to actually kind of go extensively with it, because with the previous build, at least I've been to locals with it before and tried it out and it actually works well. For this, I've only been playtesting this I guess against myself, in the sense where I'm actually just playing out simulated test hands, and that's as far as it gets. I've never actually tried this against someone in real life before, but obviously given this particular period in time we're in lockdown, so it is definitely going to be quite difficult to do that. So yeah, that's what I'll say, is that this deck right now has only been quite theoretical to me. However, I do think it is something that might work, so definitely give it a try. It is going to be quite a budget variant, but with that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. We're going to get started. So to begin with monsters, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Shinobird Peacock. Absolutely amazing card. This is just your main key card that you need for the deck itself, which I'm going to be playing obviously alongside the Shinobird Peacock. So if you guys don't know what these cards do, then definitely check out the first deck profile where I actually go in detail as to what they do. I even had an accompanying test hand for it so that I could actually demonstrate what the deck can actually do as well. So with that being said, I'm not going to repeat it in this one, and I will also be doing a test hand video for this anyway, so if you guys have something that you want to understand the gist of it, then stay tuned for that. Of course, I'd like to remind you guys that if you're enjoying this video so far, then definitely drop a like, or if you eventually end up enjoying this video, then also share it as well. It really helps, and also comment down your thoughts as to what you think about this. But of course, we're playing 3 copies here of our Nikitama, absolutely crucial card, and of course we're still playing 3 copies of Aratama as well. This is not Shinobird Pigeon, this is my proxy for Aratama, that is, because of the fact that it has the orange there, and Aratama basically looks like Nikitama except it's orange. So because of that, I kind of put it together as is, like so. Next, of course, we're going to be playing something quite important here, and that is obviously going to be the Amano Iwato, obviously the card that locks out your opponents, and you could special summon it out using your Shinobaroness and Shinobird Peacock, of course, to bring out the Amano Iwato, and of course it won't bounce back to the hand. So absolutely amazing card, and you don't even need Archlord Crestia in the deck. This card does it all. And lastly, for the Shinobird monsters, we're going to be playing here 1 copy of Shinobird Crane. Still a great card. I think it's best at 1. Maybe if this card actually got a high rarity boost, that would be quite amazing. Of course, I don't really see that happening. It is a Shinobird card after all. I mean, our boss monsters don't even have an upgrade to it, so what's the chances that this would actually get an upgrade? I don't know. This deck is really unpopular. I want to bring it back somehow. I want to bring back the popularity of it, so hopefully more people actually get into this deck. That's why I encourage you guys share this video. But with that being said, it's an amazing card, allows you to draw, and it just gets the job done. Alright, so here's the new guys of the deck itself. We're going to be playing 3 copies here of Yokozuna, Sumo Spirit. We're also going to be playing here 3 copies of Kurobi, Karate Spirit, and finally we're going to be playing here Kaiden, Kendo Spirit. So these 3 cards are all absolutely amazing. These 2 came out in Extreme Force, and this came out in Flames of Destruction. So definitely all great. They are basically all Spirit Pendulum monsters, and because they're also wind as well, it just felt appropriate. It felt somewhat synergetic, and I just wanted to try it out in this particular deck. So here's the theory behind it. They have high levels, so they're gonna work with the Shinobirds anyway. They also have the same attributes, so going into your link monsters would definitely be no problem whatsoever that require link monsters. They also happen to be spirit monsters as well, so there's a bit of synergy there, and it makes it overall really amazing. But most importantly, we're actually going to be incorporating pendulums into this deck. I always thought that pendulums and links never got too well with each other, so with that being said, I thought I would actually incorporate pendulums and links into one kind of deck, and this would actually be quite a fun thing to try out. So we have here the Yokozuna, absolutely incredible card, of course, for the fact that it's the only scale 1 for the deck, so it's actually more so an important card, whereas these 2 you could kind of decide which which one you want. Kendo Spirit is the better one, of course, but Yokozuna is also quite important as well. So with that being said, what do they actually do? Well, all of them have the same pendulum effect, where if a monster is pendulum summoned, then you return this card from the pendulum zone to your hand. So it allows you to reset the scales, which is definitely quite nice. But that's not the main effect, it's the monster effects. So if all of them are normal summoned, they have their own specific effects. So when this is normal summoned, you could actually send to the graveyard all monsters your opponent controls in the same column as cards in your pendulum zones. Obviously there are only 2 pendulum zones, so it's going to be quite restricting there, and it doesn't seem to work out as well. But believe it or not, your opponent who doesn't know what you're playing here will actually put it in those zones without noticing, and it's quite common as well. They want to free up their zones so that they don't block their extra monster zones out, so they're obviously going to put it near the end, and this actually works quite well with that. Karate Spirit will do the exact same thing as Yokozuna, except in this case it bounces back, or it gets rid of spells and traps your opponent has. Now, Kendo Spirit is a bit different. Instead of focusing on bouncing cards or sending cards to the graveyard in the same column as the pendulum zones, it's the same column as himself, which makes him a little bit more flexible in this particular standpoint, making him superior than these two. But of course, Yokozuna is superior than Kurobi for the fact that it's the only level or scale 1, and this one you have the option to just play this. But I'm playing all 3 of them because I want consistency and I want to be able to incorporate all of them. You could pendulum summon them easily anyway, so it's no big deal. Another thing I actually wanted to mention is that I'm not playing any rank 5s in the deck at all, so if you're expecting any rank 5 Xyz monsters, I'm not playing any. You guys can definitely play it. You can play Cyber Dragon Infinity if you actually want to. That's a nice engine to negate something, but we don't want our cards actually being sent to the graveyard. We want these pendulum monsters to actually go back to the extra deck face up so that we could just re-pendulum summon them again, and that's definitely going to be quite beneficial for us. So in that particular standpoint, I like to just go with this particular play. However, if you want to adjust it in your way to play the Cyber Dragon engine, then feel free. I'm not stopping you on that one. This is simply just a guide. Alright, so moving on to spells, we're also playing 3 copies of the Shinobird's Calling, basically our ritual spell, and we're playing the 1 copy of Power Spot. Power Spot I found to be less inclusive in the deck now. I figured that 1 copy is all we actually need. Giving the 500 boost is quite nice, and I find that my opponent doesn't destroy it as much as I can, compared to at least the previous deck profile I was testing. So with that being said, this one I dropped it down to 1 copy and it just worked a lot better. As for the rest of the deck, we're playing a bunch of staples, so we're playing 3 copies here of Pre-Preparation of Rites, we're playing 2 copies of Preparation of Rites, makes sense, allows us to search for what we need. We're also playing here Monster Reborn as well, obviously a crucial card of course. Let me just get some space available right here. And we're also obviously playing Called by the Grave, we're playing Instant Fusion. Believe it or not, I'm actually playing Millennium Eyes, but we'll get to it when we get to it in the extra deck. We're also playing One Day of Peace and Upstart Goblin as means to kind of deck thin, and of course for the trap cards we're ending off here with the Shinobird Salvation, which I already talked about in the first deck profile, so definitely check that out. But with that being said, that sums it up for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so onto the extra deck, we're playing 1 copy here of Zamorg, Bird of Sovereignty. You really only need 1 of them, it's a link 3, so makes sense, right? Also playing 1 copy of Great Fly just for wins. It's generic, it works well, it boosts your monsters up. We're also playing here a Triple Burst, and we're playing a Borrowload. You could play any Link 3 or Link 4, but I play it as options, as boss monsters. If I need a good Link 3, this is what I choose. If I need a good Link 4, this is what I choose. So you guys can play whichever one that actually suits your interest. We're also playing here 1 copy each of the Cerberus and the Phoenix. If you guys want to play Unicorn, then yeah, you could take out Cerberus and then put in Unicorn instead, and that would definitely work just as well. Now here's something interesting I actually wanted to bring up, and that is the actual restrict engine or relinquished engine. This is Thousand Eyes Restrict. You guys could also play Millennium Eyes Restrict to kind of negate your opponent's monsters, but Thousand Eyes Restrict does allow you to take your opponent's monsters, link it away, go for the Anima takes another. It's just a really great combo, and Instant Fusion is just something that's really amazing amazing for the deck. So to be able to incorporate this engine, or this mini engine really, into the deck itself is kind of like this nice truce that you actually have between the two ritual decks. It's quite nice. As for the final cards in the deck, we're playing a bunch of level 4 monsters that can kind of end up as quite vulnerable cards. So with that being said, I sometimes want to go for some toolbox XCs monsters. So we're going for Tornado Dragon because we might need it. We have Castel, we have here Daigusto Emerald, we have over here number 41 Baguska, and of course we have the Utopia package, which yeah, it's just absolutely amazing for OTKs when you actually need it. But with that being said, this is essentially the deck profile itself, so definitely leave feedback on this and share it just so that we could spread this deck's popularity again, bring it back into the spotlight. And of course, like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. However, in the meantime, I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you next time.